You wake up tired, you're tired in the afternoon, you just don't have the energy you want to get the things done. Today we're talking 5 essential iron markers in your blood work that I think are incredibly important to understand. We're talking about some mental and physical things you can do and some supplements. So we got a lot to pack in today. Grab a pen and paper that will increase energy. Now, is one of those things going to increase energy? Probably not. It's layering, it's stacking of functions, and then you hit this point where your energy is better. But, and here is a but, because but negates everything that you said before. But if you're an upcycler, when it comes to how you view your energy, you will never experience the difference. Excuse me. Hold on. Woo. So let me ask you, are you an upcycler? An upcycler in this context is someone who is low energy and is looking for more energy, but only acknowledges it if they can wake up in the morning and go 12 hours nonstop and then go to bed. If you're low energy, that's not going to happen tomorrow or next week. And so what happens is you gain some energy points. I like to think of it like 100 energy points. So maybe you're tanked down at 25 energy points and you're just pushing those adrenals to get through the day. So you've got those 25 energy points and you move up 10 energy points to 35, but your expectations of yourself move to 80 energy points. Therefore, you have widened the gap and you will never experience the increase of energy. I see myself, I see this pattern comes up for me and I see it across the board working one-on-one with clients. You simply have to, well, in my opinion, you don't have to do anything, but in my opinion, going back and celebrating the smallest wins stops that cycle. Oh my gosh, I got showered today. I didn't yesterday. That's an energy win. I didn't take as long of a nap. That's an energy win. And celebrating and creating gratitude, because healthy women create gratitude internally. It's not just a list that they check off. They create the experience of gratitude. Creating gratitude for those small wins will help you acknowledge and move your energy stores faster, because that is how strong your mental capacity is. That's how strong it is. And sometimes we forget how powerful it is. And you are so powerful. Now let's go over the 5 iron-related blood tests. Number 1, serum iron. Think of it like your current fuel level. That serum iron measures how much fuel you have. Okay, that's 1. Total iron binding capacity. You'll see it on your blood work as TIBC, and it shows your blood's capacity to bind iron. Okay, to bind it. And then your transferrin saturation is the percentage of those stations that bind iron and how they're occupied. How many of those stations are full? How many of those stations are empty? Then your serum ferritin. Oh, this one I see currently across the board, women having low ferritin. And this is like a savings account for your iron, right? And if you don't have a strong savings account, your iron's not secure. Ferritin, your iron storage. The next one is serum transferrin, and it's the protein responsible for moving your iron through your bloodstream. That's what moved. Like, did you like my reenactment there, moving it through your bloodstream? I hope that helped you remember what your serum transferrin is in that iron panel. And the other is your hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is the primary iron that contains protein in your red blood cells that carries oxygen. And while it's not just focused on iron, it is so important for your iron availability. Now, could we go deeper into that, those tests? Absolutely, we can. And I realized I'll be doing some recordings because today's live, each thing that we're talking about, we could dive so much deeper and really increase our education so we can take action. Because remember, we're the most educated culture that's ever walked the earth, and we're also the sickest. So education does not create health. Taking action does. It does help me to understand what's happening and why I'm taking that action. It can also kick my behind into overwhelm. And if it does that for you, and right now you're overwhelmed because that may have brought up some more questions that we're not going to address today, might not be a good life for you, or you might need to say, hey, I've opened that doorway. I need to learn a little bit more, and I'm tucking that in my tool belt for further reference of those 5 different iron related blood tests. There are markers also, but those are the 5 essentials, I think, in understanding your body's iron and where it's at. And then you can start looking at the relationships of those iron related blood work. Now, another thing that we can do, and remember, if your iron is off, your energy is low, you don't have enough oxygen getting to your cells, iron doesn't work without magnesium. Soaking in magnesium. We talk about this a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Another thing that I would personally do if my energy was low is I would add desiccated liver. Why would I add desiccated liver? Because it's a whole food source of vitamin D, vitamin A, a strong copper core, and B12. Now, if you look at your ferritin and your ferritin is low, then we know probably, and remember, I'm just sharing thoughts for you to filter information. I'm not diagnosing. I'm not telling you anything about your body. We're just talking in generalities. If your ferritin is low, you probably are storing iron in places it shouldn't be stored. And that causes issues. And copper is what helps move that iron. Desiccated liver, when it's processed correctly, has a strong copper core and helps to move that iron out of places it shouldn't be, like soft tissue, heart, places like that. We don't want iron sitting in our muscles. We want it moving, and copper does that. And so this has B12, vitamin D, vitamin A, a whole food source of iron. I would be adding these. That's what I would do. The next thing that I would add is acerola cherry powder. Again, it has a strong copper core because of the way it's grown, because of the way it's processed. It has a strong copper core. And that strong copper core, along with the vitamin C, helps your thyroid convert T4 into T3. And if you're tired, you're not converting at optimal levels. If you're tired when you wake up, you're tired in the afternoons, that is happening in your body. You're not converting T4 to T3. And for some people, not every time, for most people, they take this and it's an immediate increase of energy unless you're upcycling. And if you're upcycling, you won't experience, because remember, maybe you were at 50 energy points and this took you to 70 energy points, but you're now demanding 1,500 energy points of your body, therefore negating the increase of energy that you just added, saying, oh, nothing ever works for me. If those words have come out of your mouth, you might want to look at your patterns that you're upcycling. You might just want to look at those. Okay, another thing that I would do. So we've talked about the mental of upcycling, right? And really creating that gratitude. Another thing that I would do, in fact, I did this morning, and I would take a piece of paper and the best color of Sharpie, which in my opinion is this one. It's my very favorite Sharpie color. And I would just draw a line down the middle, and on the top over here, things I can change, things I cannot change. And then I would continue on with that list, and I would just do a brain dump. The things that are feeling hard, heavy, overwhelming, stressful, are things that I feel stuck in. And write down, set a timer. I like to do, if you can, 30 minutes is this really incredible place where your brain unlocks at about 20 minutes. But I didn't have 30 minutes this morning. My hair is already kind of wet as it is because I just didn't get it finished before I came on live. And so I had about 7 minutes this morning, and that was awesome. Write down the things you can change and the things you cannot change. I have a couple hard things going on with my adult kids. I can't change it, but I can change the action that I'm taking to support them to feel like I'm helping them move forward out of these hard places. See how that works? Just going down. And yes, I can do that in my head, putting it on paper and the visual, getting it out of your head and in the physical dimension, I promise you makes a difference. You don't have to be a journal girl like I am. You don't have to have all the journals around your house, all the different kind of journals and all the different things that you love about journals. You don't have to be a journaler. Just a piece of paper. It doesn't even have to be in a notebook, but get it in the physical world. And I'm frozen. Oh my goodness. What? I'm frozen. I'm frozen. Let's see. Oh, you can still hear. Okay, thank you, Shelly. Shelly just sent a text. Can we just do a little round of applause for Shelly? She's been in my home for 2 days, just helping my systems, my order. I've been locked out of my personal Facebook account for over 3 years. It literally was not something I could figure out, and she did. So thank you, Shelly. Okay, I don't know why Google Fiber is not what it's cracked up to be. Anyway, so that physical, getting those things out that you can change and that you cannot change, and getting it in the physical dimension, I promise you, makes a physical difference in your body and the excess energy load, a burden that you're carrying. It's a game changer. I do that one often. Okay, so another one that I think is really important, and it's one of those things that it will feel kind of weird, and it sounds kind of weird in that you're tired, you don't want to move, you want to conserve energy, but moving is actually that thing that will help increase your energy. My camera's frozen right now, but I am standing up, and I think I'm still in frame. I'm standing up and I'm just moving my body, leaning over, stretching out my back, moving my arms, stretching in front of me, just moving my body, rolling my shoulders, crossing my body with my hands, tapping on my knee while I march in place and cross my body opposite hand to opposite knee. Those are all things that will help increase your energy. And I was really wanting to show you this one move, and it's a hard one to explain. But because my screen is frozen, I won't be able to. So we'll, I'll keep an eye on that screen and that beautiful weird smile that it's stuck on. And if I unfreeze, I'll show you that movement. Now, another thing, let's go to some, I shared with you my foundational support, soaking in magnesium, desiccated liver, acerola cherry powder, and those are foundational for me. They're whole foods. I don't consider them, quote, supplements. They're whole foods. Another thing, 2 areas that you can add that will show an increase of energy the fastest, right? Because we can do things that will slowly increase our energy, but if your energy is tanked, it's, we want to do things to get the most bang out of the action that we've taken. And one of those is adrenal glandulars. Adrenal glandulars, most people will experience the benefit within 2 days. Again, unless you're an upcycler and you're just increasing your energy point expectations faster than what your body is increasing its energy stores. And that's a pattern that simply, in my opinion, must be broken to create optimal health. And I've put, and I'm sure Shelly's already got it up, I've put a link to the 2 that I use. One is a little bit less expensive, one's a little bit more expensive, and look at the additives and see which is the best fit for you. That can make a big difference in how you're feeling. Now, just in case you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to go buy all these things. Remember, the most important thing to set your circadian rhythm is early morning sunshine, the magnesium morning trifecta that you and I have talked about a lot. Walking in the early morning sunshine is setting your circadian rhythm. It's setting the melatonin for how you sleep. It's increasing energy, and our cells have a wave that happens. And when we open the day with that early morning sunshine and we close it with that beautiful sunset, we are increasing energy stores at the cellular level. And that just takes some adjusting to your schedule. Now, some people can't do it because of work. And I have a really good friend. She is in a warehouse I think she starts at 3 or 3:30 every morning. And she can't. She's in an environment that's in a lab environment. There are no windows. But she can do it on the weekends and her days off. And so her focus is on the weekend and my day off. This is what I'm doing to increase that. And here's the most important thing. She's not doing it beating herself up that she's not doing it every day, right? She's doing it celebrating the fact she's got that time on the weekends, because that's where an upcycler pattern will decrease your energy, even though you're doing things to increase your energy, because it takes you back to you're never good enough. And you are right now. You are good enough. You're offering how you show up in the world. You have to claim it. You have to embrace it. And she's not focused on what she can't do because that would drain her energy. She celebrates that she has the weekends to go collect sunshine and enjoy the magnesium morning trifecta because she's felt the power of what it does to be out in the sunshine, early morning, first hours of the ray, different spectrum of light that wakes up our body. Nothing can replace that. Nothing. There's no purchased vitamin D lamp or light that replaces sunshine in the early morning. Now, Shelley and I were talking, and some of our favorite times of the day is outside in our gardens in that early morning. I preferably like to be barefoot and just soaking up negative ions while I stand in the dirt and enjoying those moments. Adding a walk to that just increases the benefits. Soaking in magnesium that day just increases the benefits. There's a synergy that happens with the trifecta of the magnesium morning happening, that it just increases the benefits of all three things, and they become more than the sum of their parts when you add in that magnesium morning trifecta. Another thing that I would look at if my energy were low is I would want to look at adaptogens. Adaptogens help your body deal with stress. Adaptogens are not something that you take the same one your sister's taking, or your bestie's taking, or your husband's taking, or maybe one of your kids is taking. Doesn't work like that. You need to find the adaptogen that works for your body. That's why today I'm asking you to do that if appropriate for you. Because if you are in that energy crunch, you don't have the brain capacity to figure out what your adaptogen is. Please do it. Start the process. Start the process to figure out what your adaptogen is. Now, I'm in this area in my life, I'm blown away because ashwagandha has been my go-to adaptogen for over 20 years. I've cycled it off and on throughout my life. It's not doing its thing. Now, for some people, ashwagandha is horrific because it taints their thyroid, especially if you've got if you've got Hashis. Ashwagandha is horrific because it will aggravate the symptoms, not support it. My ashwagandha is not doing that. And so I'm on the search again. What's a good fit for me? Where in this stage of my life, what is working for me? And as you do that adaptogen, as you add that adaptogen, it's not a matter of, I take what's on the back and test it for 3 days to see. That's unrealistic expectations for what an adaptogen can do, because you have to look back over 60 days, at minimum 30 days. 60 days is ideal. How am I managing stress? Am I as reactive? Are my afternoons a little bit stronger? And if you're not experiencing any benefit, the first thing I would do is look at my board of directors, because we are the CEOs, you and I, of our bodies. A CEO does not do it on her own, or him. A CEO does not do it on her own. She brings people onto the board with different skills than what she has. And that's how things happen. I consider myself the CEO of my body, and I bring people onto my board that have different strengths in different areas. And I have a person on my board, this one's my husband, and he will give me really good feedback. No, actually, Kristen, I'm seeing a difference. You're handling this better. And maybe I didn't pick up on that nuance. Oh, okay. that's a benefit that adaptogen's giving me that I didn't acknowledge. And if someone has been sick for a very long time, or if someone deals with high levels of chronic pain, you have to disconnect from your body to maintain. But in that disconnection, you've lost the ability to tap in to what is benefiting you. I beg you, if you've said, hardly anything works for me or nothing works for me, there's a disconnect there. Build your board of directors. Find someone that you trust, that has your best interest at heart, that is around you enough to notice subtle nuances. Because if you pushed your adrenals that hard for that long that you're this sick, now I don't mean that in a way that blames. So let me rephrase that. If you've been sick for that long and your adrenals are so exhausted, you're not going to pick up the subtle nuances and you need help. And it's okay to ask for help. And so many women, I don't know about you, but I was raised with the mentality, just work a little bit harder, pull up your bootstraps. My dad was a dairy farmer. I've never met harder working people than dairy farmers. Not that other people don't work hard. There is a work ethic and a level of commitment in a dairy farmer for these long hours that is really high. And I'm sure there are other things. There are other areas of people that work very hard. If you were raised, work hard, you were also given that subtle message, maybe, don't ask for help. And that's kicking your butt when it comes to creating health. It is kicking you in the butt. You are the CEO. I don't run the company by myself. I don't even know how shipping works. I used to, but I don't now. Emily completely covers it. I don't even know all the things Megan does. She covers it. I don't have to know those things. I'm the CEO, and I brought on people to lift and support that had strengths in other areas. How many times have you heard me call out to Shelly, help, Shelly, this? She has strengths in other areas. And the beautiful thing and the relationship of those women that I just spoke of is we don't put each other down because our strengths are different. We recognize, honor, and appreciate that they have a different strength set than I do, or from each other. Because it takes all of those unique gifts of those women to run the company. And that's how I view my health and my body too. I have different people on my board of directors with different strengths. Asking for help is okay. And if you can't remember the last time you asked for help, there might be a broken pattern playing there that is tanking your energy, that's tanking it and making it incredibly difficult to feel better. Broken patterns tank your energy. Broken patterns keep you sick. And someone said to me, "Oh, Kristen, you see those patterns." Well, you can't see the pattern if you haven't played it, right? That's not happening. And it's because those patterns have come up for me. And I'm not at the top of the hill going, "Oh, I've conquered this." I'm down in the trenches, focused on letting go of the broken patterns to be as healthy as I can and to show up as strongly as I can. Constant gradual improvement. And they still show up for me, and sometimes I still play into them. It's when you are standing in a place of shame and trying to hide them that steals your energy. Okay, we will have to do the one little routine that I do to regulate nervous system another day, because it looks like I still don't have video on. I have loved being here with you today. I I'm not sure what happened with my video. I think it might be internet. We've had lots of issues since adding Google Fiber here in our home. And I appreciate you being here. And I would love to know, what was your powerful takeaway today? What helped you? What is that piece of information that connected for you that you can now take action on? Post it in the comments below. I love seeing your questions, seeing your comments. It helps me formulate the next thing to talk about. And today, and this all came from one question that came in from a private client. And I realized, oh, I'm going to break all of these down because my podcast platform is all set up. I just haven't added to it. And all of these things that we talked about today, we could dive so much deeper on. And so I've added that to my action list of what I want to do to really help formulate the systems and patterns for myself. And by getting that outside of my head, it helps me see where I can let things go or lean into those things that will help me show up as powerfully as I can for the people that I love. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk next Monday. I'd love to see you. Check out the newsletter, the Good Life Journal, because we have our next masterclass coming up in September, on the first Monday in September. I'd love to have you there. We dive a little bit deeper. We get a little bit more connected because I can see you, you can see me, versus a social media where I just kind of pretend there's people out there in the big abyss. And I'd love to invite you to that. The only place that that link goes is to those who have joined the Good Journal, the Good Life Journal. And I'd love to have you. You have to join in advance because there's a couple things that have to automatically happen behind the scenes to get you on that newsletter. I would love to have you there for our next one, as we're really focused, because a current issue is that ferritin. So we're really focused on iron and what we can do. And we'll be diving deep on that and going more into the markers. So we talked about essential blood tests and then talking about the markers and understanding the markers and the relationships between the things that are in the blood tests. So delightful being here with you today. Hope you have an amazing day. And I hope you spend just a moment creating gratitude for things that you've done today because of where your energy levels are at right now. When we have gratitude for where we're at right now, not in a toxic way, not in a way that discounts, but your lungs were breathing air. And did you take a moment? And we're still focused on creating more if you've got low energy, but taking that moment and creating internal gratitude for the energy points you have happening today helps propel you forward more efficiently, more easily, and faster. And that's what living the good life naturally is all about. Bye, guys.